You know what makes me sick? The fact that WWE had us believing Brock Lesnar was done, finished, retired to his farm in Saskatchewan. They fed us lie after lie, while corporate suits were probably laughing at us behind closed doors, knowing exactly what was coming. And last night on the 9th of October 2025, they proved once again that they play us like puppets. But here's what's going to make your blood boil even more. What Brock did when he came back wasn't just an attack. It was a statement that proves everything wrong with WWE's booking philosophy, and I'm about to expose why this return is both genius and absolutely infuriating at the same time. Because while you were celebrating the Beast's return, WWE was already planting the seeds for their next massive controversy. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Brock Lesnar's return on the 9th of October might be the most manipulative move WWE has pulled in years. Let's set the scene. The 9th of October 2025. The arena is electric. We're deep into what seemed like a standard championship contender segment. The crowd is hot, the energy is building, and then, silence. That iconic sound hits. You know the one. Those violins that make your spine tingle. The crowd erupts before Brock even appears on screen. And when he walked out, it wasn't the Brock we remembered. This wasn't the part-timer with the advocate doing his talking. This was something different, something darker. The beard was longer, the eyes were colder, and you could feel the intensity radiating through your screen. Paul Heyman wasn't there. No microphone, no theatrics, just pure, unfiltered destruction waiting to be unleashed. Here's a question for you in the comments. Did you actually believe Brock was done with WWE, or did you always know he'd come back? Drop your answer below. The moment Brock's music hit, social media exploded. Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it now, crashed in certain regions. Reddit's WWE community had over 50,000 people online simultaneously. The wrestling world stopped dead in its tracks. Because love him or hate him, when Brock Lesnar shows up, you cannot look away. But here's where things got insane. Brock didn't just return to cut a promo or stare someone down. He came back to destroy, and I mean destroy. The first victim? The current Intercontinental Champion. Brock hit the ring like a freight train with no brakes. The champion didn't even have time to react before being launched halfway across the ring with a belly-to-belly suplex that looked like it defied the laws of physics. Then came the challenger. Same treatment. Suplex City became Suplex Nation. German suplex. Release German suplex. Overhead belly-to-belly. The man was on a mission, and that mission was reminding everyone why he's called the Beast Incarnate. The sound of bodies hitting the canvas echoed through the arena like thunder, each impact more devastating than the last. Security tried to intervene. Mistake. 5 security guards learned the hard way that you don't stand between Brock Lesnar and chaos. They went flying like they were made of cardboard. One poor guy got F5'd so hard, I'm pretty sure he's still spinning. The crowd was losing their minds. Half were chanting holy shit, the other half were just standing there with their jaws on the floor. But Brock wasn't done. Oh no, the real shock came when the locker room emptied. Superstars from both brands rushed the ring to try and contain the Beast. Big mistake. Huge mistake. What followed was 7 minutes of absolute mayhem. Established stars, rising talents, veterans, it didn't matter. Brock went through them like a hot knife through butter. Quick trivia for the comments, how many F5s did Brock hit during this segment? Count them and let me know your answer. The imagery was powerful, bodies scattered everywhere. The ring crew didn't know whether to flee or stay. Referees were waving their arms helplessly, and in the center of it all stood Brock Lesnar, barely breathing hard, looking like a conqueror standing over his fallen enemies. This wasn't just a return, this was a conquest. Now here's where I need you to really pay attention, because this is where WWE either showed their genius or revealed their complete disregard for long-term storytelling. By having Brock demolish everyone, and I mean everyone, WWE potentially buried months of character development and momentum in less than 10 minutes. Think about it. We had stars who've been grinding for months, building credibility, getting over with the crowd, creating compelling storylines. And in one segment, Brock made them all look like extras in his movie. Is that good storytelling, or is it WWE once again sacrificing the future for a short-term ratings pop? Some of you are probably screaming at your screens right now saying that's what makes Brock special, and you're not entirely wrong. Brock's mystique has always been built on his dominance. He's supposed to feel like a final boss in a video game that you can't beat, but at what cost? When does protecting one star at the expense of everyone else become detrimental to the entire product? Here's the thing that really grinds my gears. WWE had been doing excellent work building new stars. The mid-card was the strongest it's been in years. Tag team wrestling was getting proper attention, and then in one night, they reminded us that when a part-timer returns, none of that matters anymore. It's like they are telling us, all that stuff you invested in emotionally, yeah, it's cute, but here's real star power. But I'll give WWE credit where it's due. The reaction was undeniable. Love it or hate it, people were talking. And in today's fragmented media landscape, getting people to care enough to argue is half the battle. Before Brock's return dominated everything, we actually had some incredible in-ring action on the 9th of October. And it's criminal that these matches are getting overshadowed, because the talent delivered absolute bangers. The opening match was a fast-paced triple threat that had the crowd on their feet from bell to bell. The psychology was perfect, each wrestler had their moment to shine, and the near falls had people genuinely questioning who would win. The finish came out of nowhere with a roll-up that protected everyone involved. That's the kind of smart booking we need more of. The women's division continued their hot streak with a match that showcased exactly why they should be getting more time, not less. Technical wrestling mixed with hard-hitting strikes and high-risk maneuvers. There was one spot where a suicide dive turned into a DDT on the floor that made me jump out of my seat. These women are putting on clinics week after week, and they deserve flowers for it. Drop in the comments which match from the 9th of October impressed you the most aside from Brock's return. The tag team division also got some love with a match that reminded everyone why tag team wrestling is an art form. The hot tag sequence was perfect. The heels worked over the face for what felt like an eternity, building sympathy, and when that tag finally happened, the place exploded. Quick tags, double team moves, innovative offense, this is what makes tag wrestling special. And we can't forget the main event that was supposed to be the talking point of the night. A championship match that had legitimate stakes and emotional investment. These two competitors left everything in that ring. Kickouts at 2.9 that had the crowd believing the match was over. Submission attempts that looked genuinely painful. This was storytelling at its finest, and it deserved to be the headline. But WWE knows what they are doing. They positioned Brock's return after these matches, ensuring that while people would appreciate the wrestling, they'd leave talking about the beast. It's strategic, it's calculated, and it's exactly why WWE remains the industry leader. So where does WWE go from here? That's the million-dollar question. Brock Lesnar is back, and he's clearly not interested in playing nice. The landscape of WWE just shifted dramatically in one night. Championship pictures are now uncertain. Feuds that were building momentum might get derailed, and every superstar is now looking over their shoulder wondering if they are next. Here's my prediction, and you can at me on this: Brock isn't here for a championship. At least not immediately. This feels like a man on a mission to prove something. Maybe it's about reclaiming respect. Maybe it's about showing that nobody can touch him. Or maybe, just maybe, WWE is building towards something we haven't seen before, a Brock Lesnar that's completely unhinged and unpredictable. The possibilities are endless. Dream matches that we thought would never happen are now on the table. Fresh feuds with this new generation of stars could create instant classics. Or we could see Brock dominate everyone for months until it gets stale. WWE has a golden opportunity here, and the wrestling world is watching to see if they capitalize on it or waste it. Think about the potential matchups. Brock versus the current generation's top stars could produce 5-star classics. The clash of styles, the blend of old-school intensity with new-school innovation. We could be entering a golden age if WWE books this correctly. Final question for the comments: who do you want to see face Brock Lesnar first? And more importantly, who do you think can actually beat him? The 9th of October 2025 will go down as the night the Beast returned and reminded us why Brock Lesnar is still one of the most compelling figures in professional wrestling. Whether you think his return was perfectly executed or a slap in the face to full-time talent, you cannot deny the impact. Wrestling is at its best when it makes us feel something, whether that's joy, anger, excitement, or frustration. WWE played us. They worked us. And you know what? That's exactly what they are supposed to do. But now the pressure is on. Brock is back, and WWE needs to deliver on this momentum. They need to give us compelling stories, logical booking, and payoffs that make this all worthwhile. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button. Subscribe to Wrestling Zone 1 if you haven't already, because we're covering every major development as it happens. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we break down what happens next in this explosive storyline. And seriously, get in the comments. Let's debate. Let's argue. Let's discuss. Because this is what being a wrestling fan is all about. We might not always agree, but we're all passionate about this beautiful, chaotic, frustrating, amazing form of entertainment we call professional wrestling. Share this video with your wrestling friends who need to see this breakdown. Let's get the conversation going across the entire wrestling community. Brock Lesnar is back, and the wrestling world will never be the same. Until next time, this is Wrestling Zone 1, and we'll see you for the next explosive episode.